Gender is the one that is socially constructed.
What is gender?
It's not like a trait, but like, what do you call that? Should I turn off my music?
So gender is like however you choose to express yourself.
Personally, I think that gender is someone's choice. So if you want to be female, then you can be female.
Gender is subjective. It depends on what each person.
Gender is a type of ontological position that can be defined in two ways, or rather it can be placed in two ways. So locally it is a spectrum. It is a question of performativity, how people choose to perform in a society. However, on the grand scheme of things, I feel as if gender is on a two-track man-woman kind of thing that power sort of places you into. So it doesn't matter how you perform, it just matters what those structures think of you, and they will ascribe a certain gender onto you.
Okay. Gender is the type of category that you believe you fall into, when, such as like male, female, or other. Yeah.
Gender is whether or not you associate yourself or try to present yourself on the everyday basis as being more masculine versus more feminine. I think this because I personally knew several people that were actually girls, but they presented themselves as guys, and if asked, they would say that they were guys. So that's why I think that.
Gender is how you choose to identify or express yourself.
So I guess coming from more of a strict Catholic background because of being Portuguese, it's something that's kind of hard to answer for me. But I guess gender would be how someone associates himself, whether male or female or somewhere in between.
Traditionally, there are two poles, right? So there's male and female. However, that is kind of a social construct that we've just adapted at this point. And I think there's a lot of work being done to break that down. So gender can be fluid, it can be beyond those two boxes, it can be both boxes at once. Gender is a choice.
Restart.
Gender is what a person identifies with, even if they're not necessarily born with.
Gender is the sex that you associate with and the way that you feel.
Gender is something that's fluid, and it's how people identify themselves and however they want to do it.
Somehow it developed that men are viewed certain ways, like masculine, and females are viewed. And there's different things that define masculinity and femininity. And it doesn't have to do with whether you're male or female necessarily. It's whatever society has said is that you're supposed to, like how you're supposed to act and everything.
It is the way you were born, like male, female, or there are a few exceptions, but most generally male and female.
Sex is a biological thing. Like, I don't know.
Sex, I feel, is whether or not you have a penis to be a male, or whether you have a vagina and are a female.
Sex is determined by the reproductive organs that each person has.
I guess sex would be the more the physical aspect, whether or not someone has the male organs or female organs or both.
Sex is something assigned to you at birth.
Sex is more biological, so it's more of like how you're born.
I think sex is mostly a biological determination of somebody. So I think it's determined mostly or mainly by the sex organs and by hormones.
Sex is supposedly it's the biological one, but even that says like certain people are like they're like in the middle where they're like born with certain body parts, or they can do certain things that like males might not be able to do normally, that it's normally like female component. I guess like some girls, I don't know. How in Anthro we learned that like girls and guys are supposed to have their fingers are different lengths. Like this finger in girls is supposed to be slightly shorter, but then that's not the same in all girls. I like looked at a bunch of people on my floor, and like most girls are like this, but some girls aren't. There's just like there's I don't know. It's fluid.
So, to the best of my knowledge, and based off my understanding about the dichotomy between sex and gender, sex is determined biologically.
Sex is the biological way that you were born.
Sex is what a baby is born as and what society labels them as.
Sex is more biological and something that you're assigned at birth.
For the vast majority, sex falls into two categories, male or female. It's based off of your genitalia. However, I will say that I have read a few cases where people are sexually dimorphic and they don't ascribe to either necessarily. But while I do feel that gender is a choice, I do believe that sex is determined biologically.
Between the two, I feel that sex is more biologically associated.
What is sex?
Sex is something based off your biology and your genetics.
What do you say?
What does that mean?
Biological components are, for males, whether or not you have a penis and you carry sperm. For females, it's whether or not you have a vagina and carry eggs.
So I guess for a guy it would be the penis and the testicles, and then for a woman it'd be the ovaries and the vagina.
Like the reproductive organs and like genitalia and stuff.
Generally, male has a penis, and generally, female has a vagina.
Biological components of sex are your genitalia that you're born with.
The biological components are traditionally the reproductive organs and the sex hormones that are found in either males or females.
The biological components of sex are traditionally related to either the categories of male or female, which are linked with certain reproductive organs and certain hormones.
For males, I would say it is the presence of testosterone as well as the phallic symbol that is the penis. For women, I would say is the presence of estrogen as well as some other hormones that I forgot the names of, as well as the vagina and the reproductive organs and that surround that.
Well,
Is that like a penis and vagina?
I guess there's different there's different bone densities and everything in men and women. There's different, males are generally, on average, males are supposed to be taller than females, but there's, again, there's females that are taller than males, so most females can, they can have babies and they develop, different bodies than men. They have, breasts, hips, that kind of stuff, but then, I don't know, I guess,
yeah, so you have
Oh wait.
you have primary characteristics like your genitals, and then the secondary characteristics like facial hair, stuff like that.
So, based off my study of anatomy and physiology, you have two sets of chromosomes, right, that determine your sex. You have XY for male and XX for female. And I can't remember, I almost want to say it's the X chromosome, or maybe it's the Y chromosome that carries the TRC gene, and that determines what kind of genitalia you develop when you're in the womb. I'll say that I know female-bodied individuals have 2 X chromosomes, but one of them will collapse and form a bar body, and I believe that has some sort of influence on like what genitalia you produce. But it all comes down to genetics, really.